Hello everyone, especially to our lecturer, Dr. Sani. We are from Group 1 and today we are going to present about water cycle and water process. This is my group member, Izzati binti Ismail Iskandar, Izzatul Husna binti Azhar, Nur Fatin Asila binti Said Muhammad Anwar, and the last one is Siti Nur Aina binti Muhammad Kamil. Hello, my name is Izzati binti Ismail Iskandar. So my ID number is S51381. So first of all, I will present about water cycle and water process but more to surface. The first one is precipitation. So precipitation can be defined as any liquid or frozen water that form in the atmosphere and fall back to the earth. This water might be in a liquid or a solid state. It comes in many forms like rain, sleet, freezing rain, snow, and hail. Precipitation is the one of the 4 parts of the water cycle. Infiltration. So infiltration is referred to water that penetrates into the surface of soil. Infiltration is controlled by soil texture, soil structure, vegetation, and soil moisture status. Infiltration occurs in the upper layer of the ground but may also continue further downward into the water table. Now it's about the surface runoff. Surface runoff is the water from rain, snowmelt, or other sources that flow over the land surface. This can occur when the soil is saturated by water to its full capacity and that the rain arrives more quickly than the soil can absorb it. Surface runoff often occurs because impervious areas such as the roof and the pavement do not allow water to soak into the ground. Next is about the snowmelt runoff to the stream. It's the movement of the water as a surface runoff from the snow and the ice to the surface water. It's a major component of the global movement of the water. Stream flow. Stream flow can be identified as the movement and amount of the water flowing in the natural channel, such as a river, tree, and stream. Stream flow is always changing from day to day and even minute to the minute. The main influence on the stream flow is precipitation runoff in the watershed. Rainfall causes a river to rise, and river can even rise if it only rains very far up in the watershed. Remember that the water that falls in the watershed will eventually drain by the outflow point. Surface discharge. So surface discharge is the same as a surface runoff that I have been explained before. Last but not least is about channel discharge. It's the flow of the water from the channel, and discharge implies that water flow out. As we can see, this diagram is referred to the process of the water cycle. So the first process is precipitation. It can be formed into rain and also snow. And second process is the snow may run off to the stream. This is water be flow to the stream, and then is the surface runoff process. This is the water that flow over the land surface, and then is the infiltration phase will be take place at the same time, and this involves where the water is absorbed by soil, and the last one is the stream flow. Obviously, is the movement of the water flowing in the natural channel. That's all from me. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And now I will pass to my friend Izzatul Husna.
Thank you, Miza, for passing the slide to me. I am Husna. Matric number S51404. For my slide, I will explain more about what is happening on the subsurface and groundwater during the process of water cycle and water process. The first process here is precipitation. For your information, precipitation is the process that occurs when all form of water particle fall from the atmosphere and reach the ground. There are two processes that cause the cloud to release precipitation, which are coalescence and the ice crystal processes. Alright, the meaning of coalescence here is the process by which two or more droplet or particle merge during contact to form a single particle or droplets. The example for precipitation is rain, hail, sleet, and also snow. When the precipitation falls as a rain in the atmosphere, the water will fall on the ground. After that, the water on the ground surface will enter the soil. This process is called infiltration. Infiltration is an indicator of the soil's ability to allow the water movement into and through the soil profile. Infiltration caused by multiple factors, which are gravity, adsorption, capillary force, and also osmosis. The movement and filtering of fluid through the porous material occurs during the percolation process. In a general way, percolation is defined as a process in which at least two phases, one continuous and the other dispersed. This process involves in about relative movement and exchange heat or mass through their interface. For example, is the movement of weathered material down on a slope under the Earth's surface. Next process is groundwater recharge. Groundwater recharge, also known as a deep percolation, is a hydrologic process where water moves downwards from the surface water into the groundwater. Recharge occurs through the water cycle and anthropogenic processes, which is artificial groundwater recharge, where rain or reclaimed water is routed to the subsurface. It occurs only during the rainy season and during the winter. The next process is groundwater discharge. Groundwater discharge is the movement of the groundwater from the subsurface to the surface. There is natural discharge which occurs into lakes, streams, and springs, as well as human discharge, which is referred to as pumping. Groundwater storage is not a process, it is the place where the water is stored. Groundwater storage is the difference between recharge and discharge over the time frame that these processes occur, ranging from days to thousands of years. Last one is groundwater storage in ocean. Each stage of hydrologic cycle involves the storage of water. Water can be stored in the atmosphere, on the surface of Earth, or underground. These water storage areas are most commonly called as a reservoir. Natural reservoir includes oceans, glaciers, groundwater, lakes, soil moisture, wetlands, living organisms, the atmosphere, and the river. Here is the example diagram of the water cycle that related to the process of water that I have been explained this before. That's all for my part. The next slide I will pass to Fatin. Thank you.
Thank you, Izzatul Husna. Hello, I'm Nur Fatin Asila. My metric number is S50837. For the first one of my part is precipitation. Precipitation is any product of the condensation of atmospheric water vapor that falls under gravity from clouds. The main forms of precipitation include drizzle, rain, sleet, snow, ice pellets, graupel, and hail. Next is interception. Interception refers to precipitation that does not reach to the soil, but it is instead intercepted by leaves, branches of plants, and the forest floor. It occurs in the canopy, which is known as canopy interception, and in the forest floor or little layer, which is also known as forest floor interception. Stream flow. Stream flow or channel runoff is the flow of water in streams, rivers, and other channels, and it is a major element of the water cycle. It is one component of the runoff of water from the land to water bodies, and the other component being surface runoff. Water flowing in channels comes from the surface runoff from adjacent hill slopes, from groundwater flow out of the ground, and from water discharge from pipes. Subsurface runoff flow. Subsurface runoff is the water that infiltrates in vadose zone, which is unsaturated zone from rain, snow melt, or other sources, and it moves literally towards the streams. Vadose zone extends from the top of the ground surface to the water table. It is one of the major components in the water cycle. Exfiltration. It most often occurs in response to water being either removed by evaporation and uptake processes or aided by the upward movement of a saturated zone due to a net lateral flow in. It can be significant in maintaining a wet evaporating surface when a saturated zone is present close to the surface. Evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is the sum of evaporation and transpiration. Evapotranspiration is defined as the water lost to the atmosphere from the ground surface, which are evaporation from the capillary fringe of the groundwater table, while transpiration of groundwater by plants whose root taps the capillary fringe of the groundwater table. Recharge groundwater. Groundwater recharge or deep drainage or deep percolation is a hydrologic process where water moves downward from surface water to groundwater. This process usually occurs in the weather zone below plant roots and is often expressed as a flux to the water table surface. Groundwater recharge also encompasses water moving away from the water table further into a saturated zone. So this is one of the example of the diagram of water cycle that I have been explained before. Thank you. Next, I will pass to Siti Nurul Aina.
Thank you, Fatin. I am Siti Nurul Aina. My metric number is S52456. So let me continue to the next process of the water cycle. First, sublimation. Sublimation is the conversion between the solid and the gaseous phase of matter with no intermediate liquid stage. Sublimation is most often used to describe the process of snow and ice changing into water vapor in the air without first melting into water. Second is desublimation. Desublimation is a phase transition in which gas turns into solid without passing through the liquid state. It is the reverse of sublimation. It is how snow forms in clouds and how frost forms on the ground or windows. Third is evaporation. Evaporation is the process by which water changes from liquid to a gas or vapor. Evaporation is the primary pathway that water moves from the liquid state back into the water cycle as atmospheric water vapor. When the water is heated, it evaporates. Then the molecules move and vibrate so quickly that they escape into the atmosphere as molecules of water vapor. Fourth is condensation. Condensation is the process by which water vapor in the air is changed into liquid water. Condensation is crucial to the water cycle because it is responsible for the formation of clouds. It happens one of two ways. Either the air is cooled to its dew point or it becomes so saturated with water vapor that it cannot hold any more water. After that, water storage in the atmosphere. Water storage refers to holding water in a contained area for a period of time. Water storage can be natural or artificial. Water stored in the atmosphere as vapor such as cloud and humidity. Then, precipitation. Precipitation is water released from cloud in the form of rain, freezing rain, sleet, snow, or hail. It is the primary connection in the water cycle that provides for the delivery of atmospheric water to the earth. Most precipitation falls as rain. It forms in the clouds when water vapor condenses into bigger and bigger droplets of water. When the drops are heavy enough, they fall to the earth, like I have said before, usually as a rain. Last but not least, water storage in ice and snow. Fresh water stored in frozen form, generally in glaciers, ice caps, and fields and snowfields. Water may be locked up in this state for a relatively long period of time. This is the diagram of the process of water cycle that I have said before. So that's all from our group. Thank you.